Well. Good evening, everybody. Good Sunday evening. We'll get started now. Welcome to you all here on Sunday, November 14th, 2021. Welcome to winter. Here we
Oh my
are. I'm sure we're
God.
all really excited. We're all really excited about our first snow today. We knew it was going to come. So here it is. It can only happen once. The first one only happens once. Well, a new season means new beginnings and many wonderful days ahead. But we're here tonight for Witness to History. As you know, I'm Donna Whyte, your host, and I have the esteemed pleasure of having as our guests tonight JoAn and Jim Perkins. Hello, JoAn.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm fine.
They are longtime residents of Moorland who have given so much over the years, especially to the Moreland children, the Moreland community, and to Eastview Church, Eastview United Church of Christ, right here in our Moreland neighborhood. But of course, as usual, John and I had a brief conversation before we got started. I said, what number witness to history is this? And I lose track. John said, this is number 15. 15. And we'll keep on going until we just run out of the many folks who live in our Moreland neighborhood. But before I get started, let me just say thank you to a few folks. Special thanks to John, and welcome back, John. John's commitment is beyond seeing us on the evening of Witness to History. He collects the photos and arranges the photos, and we would not have Witness to History without him. And I'd also like to thank, of course, Lee and Kevin Kay and Megan Hayes. And I think I saw Megan here. And of course, Colin Compton. If he can join us, then, I always like to share my thank yous with him. But hello again, JoAn. Hello,
Hi.
this is all about you this evening. This is all about you. Thank you so much for agreeing to be our guest tonight. And so many of us may feel that we know JoAn and Jim Perkins, but we're going to learn so much more about how they have given so much to the community. And many of you know because you've known them for many years, and how they've given their time and their hearts to Moreland and so much more. So as I start off our conversation, and I usually ask the first question, why did you move to Shaker Heights and when?
In September of 1964, we moved. We looked in several communities for places to move to because our son was a year and a half, and we wanted to find a place where we could have a good school system because we knew Cleveland didn't have a good system. So we were looking in the suburbs. So we were in Maple Heights, Shaker, Cleveland Heights, Beechwood. And we finally found one that we thought we could afford here in Shaker Heights. It was the cheapest one on the market.
All right.
At $18,500.
What? Oh, wonderful.
$2,500.
Oh my goodness.
But then of course the banks were not lending money to Blacks in those days. So we got a land contract and got it, and then got it switched over.
I see. Wow, we could have a conversation. We could certainly have a conversation, but here we are. 1964. And so tell us a little bit about the Moreland neighborhood and these pictures that we have here. Tell us.
Those are pictures before we left Longwood Projects where we were living at the time.
Okay.
And Jackie Robinson is up in the right-hand corner with me and my son. He was in town and he was carrying a picket sign downtown protesting, helping people protest because of the sit-ins that down south they were having, wouldn't let Black folks into the restaurants and ride the buses, and so he was in town for a protest.
Okay, right around the mid-60s, early 60s.
Yeah, early 60s. So
absolutely, and you bring up the Cleveland schools. During that particular time, Cleveland schools were having some issues.
They were having a lot of issues.
Yes, they were.
And on the east side, for sure.
Absolutely. So tell us a bit about the Moreland neighborhood when you moved in. 1964.
it was a Jewish community when we moved in. And then, of course, as always, when a Black moves on the street, for sale signs start going up real quick because they were blockbusting in that time. The realtors were trying to make money. So they were scaring the folks and telling them it's going to be a ghetto if you don't get out now.
Yep.
So people were running, but our neighbors were pretty nice. They were polite, at least to our faces. They were polite. I don't know what you were saying behind closed doors.
Well, tell us now, where are you from originally and why did you come to Cleveland?
I'm from Union City, Indiana, originally. Like I said, we had one post office in the city. I lived on the Ohio side of town and the state line ran right through the town.
Okay.
So since we only have one post office, they had to call it Indiana because the post office is set in Indiana.
Okay.
So I had to say I'm from Union City, Indiana. But now in the last 20 years, they've adjusted it so that now you can say Union City, Ohio, and you get a different zip code, but it'll go to the same post office in Indiana.
Okay. Okay. Small town living.
Small town living, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so you were involved very early with the Moreland Community Association, I understand.
Yeah, when we came on the street and we joined the Hill Down the Road Street Club, trying to help keep the neighborhood where it should be. So Mr. Jenkins at that time was principal at the school. And he had started the community association, and I think in 1962, he helped organize it. He got some funding from the Cleveland Foundation.
Oh, okay.
And then he let them meet at the school. Everybody met at the school when Mr. Jenkins was there because he opened the doors. And then when Mr. Jenkins passed away, we got a Black principal, and he also kept the doors open and helped us whenever he could.
Wonderful.
Mr. Jenkins did his best to try to stop the block busting. He even bought a house in Moorland on Scottsdale.
Oh, okay.
So that one white place in the area didn't keep it integrated.
That's an important story.
Yeah, he did his best. So
yes. Well, he demonstrated it by,
Yes, he did.
Yes, not only saying what he would do, but he actually
demonstrated. He did. He followed through. Whatever he said, he always did.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
It was a good principle.
Now, much of your connection with Moreland, besides the fact that, your children and you have 3 sons and we're right here in the neighborhood. Tell us a bit about some of the activities that you were involved in. I know many activities, of course, with your children, but you and your husband were very involved in scouting.
Yes, we were. When our son was 6 years old, we started a Cub Scout den. And we had several different leaders. My husband was one. And then we had Al Hunt, Bill Adshaw. Al Foster was in there too. Ken Campbell. We had quite a few. We had 4 or 5 packs, 4 or 5 dens, and then we would have a pack meeting once a month at Moorland. And then we would bring in different guests and speakers, and Al helped us with that a lot. We were able to get a couple of football players to come in. Quentin Lowry and his brother Orlando graduated from Shaker. So Orlando came back from one of our, Quentin and Orlando both came back from one of our pack meetings. And we had Ozzie Newsome came. I think Al did. Al made those arrangements. Did you, Al?
Yes, I got us Ozzie Newsome, Curtis Weathers, as well as Wayne Dawson.
Right.
Okay, I think we have a picture of Ozzie Newsome in here.
Yeah, he's
somewhere.
in there.
Maybe the next slide. There.
There he is.
Up in the top left.
Ozzie up in the top right. Yeah. Top left.
So, you know, I go right ahead.
And we had Madeline Manning Jackson.
Hmm.
She won a gold medal in the 1968 Olympics. Oh, her name is Mims now, not Jackson, but it was Jackson then.
And these are memories that these young people will have forever. You know,
Yeah.
they'll remember when they were young and involved and met individuals, but you all made this happen. Now, the top left picture is in Moreland Elementary, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we met at Moorland. Both of those pictures are in Moorland.
Oh, both of them are in Moreland. Both of them in
We
Moreland.
always had a meal along with the PAC meeting.
Yeah, that was the blue and gold dinner.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Scouts, the colors for the Scouts. Okay. All right.
Right.
But, you know, even before you came, I want to go back to your work with the Salvation Army and how it is that, you know, scouting was all part of that. Tell us about that.
Well, when I left Indiana, I went to Columbus to babysit for a summer with my nieces and my niece and nephews. And I'd always attended the Salvation Army. They have churches too, along with the social organization. They call them corps, Salvation Army corps. And I kept attending in Columbus. And eventually they decided that they needed someone to go to the Salvation Army Training College in New York, and they figured that I would make a good candidate. I wasn't too sure because sometimes my mouth gets ahead of my brain, and I don't think before I say something and I offend people, and I didn't think I would make a good representative, but I gave it a shot. So I lasted I went to the college and graduated and I was ordained as a minister. And then I think I lasted about a year before I decided that wasn't the way to go. I decided social work was much better than being a preacher.
Okay.
But I started my first Cub Scout pack in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. So scouting was really in your blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I came here to Cleveland in 1960 and stayed with the Salvation Army Church Corps, whichever you want to call it. I was at 76th Street then and continued with the scouting program.
Okay.
And until we moved up here in 1964.
Okay, and kept the scouting going. Can you tell us a bit about these pictures?
We were on a bus trip in that upper left-hand corner. I'm not sure where we were going. We might have been headed to Niagara Falls or we might have been going to Washington. I'm not sure. We went to several different places with the scouts. We went to DC, and one year we took them to the Naval Academy on our way back from DC. We stopped in the Naval Academy. My son was attending men, so he gave us a tour.
Oh, nice.
His commanding officer let him give us a tour of the academy. And that bottom left-hand corner is one of the parades that we were in. That's my youngest son in the suit there. We always had floats in our parade, and our float that year was the Spirit of 76, and he was the drummer boy.
Okay, I see.
And I think Al Hunt was on that float too.
Okay.
Or Chris, not Al, Chris.
Now, where is this picture you had told us the other day? The picture in the top right.
The top right, we were at Moreland. The boys were getting their awards. No, I see my son there. I can't remember the names. Can't remember all the names of all the boys. So many of them. And that middle one is at Beaumont.
Oh, okay. So you all really moved around. You all moved around.
That's Madeline over there in the end.
So over the years, have the young, well, they were boys, but they're men at this point. Are you still in contact with them, or are they in contact with you?
Mark Joyner used to live down the street, and he was one of my scouts, and every time he comes to town, he comes and pounds on my door.
Oh, nice.
And then I see some of the other boys occasionally. I was waiting on a bus one day, and one of the young men stopped. I don't recognize people anymore because they've changed so much.
Yes.
And he called my name and told him, come on, he'd give me a ride home. I said, and you are? He said, Miss Perkins, you know who I am. So in the car, and he brought me home, and I was telling him, where, Miss Perkins, I know where you live. I've been to your house a million times.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
So
wonderful.
the kids recognize us, but I don't recognize all of them anymore. Some of them I do, because they haven't changed that much, just got a little taller, a little wider.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's something so scouting was a family affair. You
Right,
and your
it
husband
was.
were very involved in scouting, and your
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, the kids all went through scouting. John was the only one that got his eagle, but
Okay. Okay. So
the
tell us
others
a bit more
the
about
work.
these scouting pictures.
Okay, we were at Niagara Falls at that top left, and that's the rest of the parade down at the bottom there on the left. In the middle, we were at, that's one of my dens, met at my house. And we always had refreshments after we had our meeting.
Yes.
I think they come mostly for the refreshments.
Oh, well. They come at the refreshments are at the end of the meeting, though.
And we were in another parade up there in the right-hand corner. Mr. Abshaw, and he had the flag. And down at the corner, that one's at Mercer.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That one's at Mercer.
And we'll
No,
talk.
it's not. It's at Moreland.
Okay.
I can see that.
Okay, I was getting ready to segue into Mercer and talk about how
one of the sisters, one of the scouts is telling them what to do, and they of course are ignoring her.
Okay.
My son giving her the peace sign.
Okay. Nice, nice. And scouting is alive and well, still in Shaker.
Oh yeah, they still have several plaques.
Yes, absolutely. And the Girl Scouts, not only the Boy Scouts, but the Girl Scouts as well. My children were Brownies and Girl Scouts right there at Moreland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I started with the Girl Scouts when Moorland closed in '87. They closed up Moorland and put all our kids on bus and sent them over to Mercer. And some of the kids come home and tell me they couldn't get in the Scouts because the people wouldn't let them in their troops. They said they're all full. So I decided to go over to Mercer and see what was going on. So I volunteered over there so I could sound things out and see what was going on before I jumped in.
Okay,
And,
this sounds like something I need to get involved in here, huh?
Yeah, so I started the Girl Scout troop.
Okay.
And the first year we had 30 kids.
Wow.
So we had to meet in the gym because there was no place else to meet until one of the teachers let us use her art room, Debbie Ashball. She said we could go in the art room and use the art room, and then we could do our crafts and things in there. And she let us use some of her equipment and stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, but we had a integrated troop.
Wonderful.
I think we were about half and half.
Okay. So there were many girls. I mean, they were not necessarily just children from Moreland that were not able to get
Mercer
into
too.
there, but also from the Mercer area.
Right.
They would have had to, well, I mean, you did what needed to be done. You started another troop.
Right.
You know, the fact that many girls and, families were interested obviously meant that there was a real need.
Right.
Thank
And
goodness.
the parents helped out, which made it good.
Oh, sure, sure. Well, thank goodness for your, going over to Mercer and making that happen.
Yeah. It was pretty good for me too, because I found a job later on.
Oh, yes. Yes. In fact, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about it. And we have some pictures a little bit later, but tell us about what happened when you followed the children to Mercer. Tell us that.
teaching over at Mercer. She went from Moreland to Mercer. So I went over and helped her out in her room
Mm-hmm.
and did things there, and then stayed for Girl Scouts after school. And at that time, the principal was kind of nice, and he let the kids stay after school and ride the late bus home. So we had the kids from Moorland staying for scouting
Mm-hmm.
and riding the late bus home because they had a late bus at
Yes.
4. But then later on, they decided that they couldn't do the late bus thing anymore.
Mm.
So we had to find another way to do scouting in our neighborhood.
JoAn,
Yes.
this is Shirley Ramsey.
Hey, Shirley.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
My experience from the Girl Scout perspective at Mercer,
Uh-huh.
I insisted. They did say the troop was closed when we
yeah.
got there. I insisted. Went through the principal, and was willing to go to the Board of Education that my daughter be made a part of that troop. And they did wind up opening the troop up for her anyway, because I made such a stink about it. I told them I had never in my life heard of a closed troop.
Mm.
So, I'm a witness to, the
Closed
after
ranks.
the reorganization, they said the troop was closed.
Mm.
They would not let any of our children in the troop.
Wow.
So,
Boys
I got joy in it, and I stuck with it. And it was more of, a situation where I was going to make them integrate this troop, instead of just bringing her back down, to our area.
Mm.
So, we went through that. And, I got them, at least for that year, to open up that troop. So a couple of us could wind up getting in. I just wanted to interject that.
Well, Moreland.
And Kenny was in you guys' troop.
Yep,
My
Kenny
son was in, yes, he was in the troop, the Boy Scout troop. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. She calls him Kenny.
Yes.
We call him Harold.
Yeah. We go back a long ways,
Yes.
JoAn.
Very long way. And you
Right.
always made
Yes.
more noise than I did. I was more calm
Yes.
most of the time.
I was always a noise maker.
You're
Yes.
a rebel rouser.
Moreland families do not back down. Let's make sure
Yes.
that we know that.
Yeah,
Right.
with the picket signs when they were closing Moreland, we walked the picket line for a long
Oh,
time.
yes. Oh, yes. Well, it's good hearing from you, dear. And I'm so glad to be in on this conversation. You take care now.
You too.
All right.
All right. So let's go back to our pictures and see where we are. The Girl Scouts we were talking about, more of the camping trips.
Yeah, our Girl Scouts didn't want to join Boy Scouts like the girls do now, but they did want some of the activities that the boys had.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And see, Girl Scouts didn't let you shoot the rifles, the air rifles, but the Boy Scouts would let us. So we would rent the camp and go out there and do the rifles and the boats. They weren't as restrictive as the Girl Scouts.
Sure.
You got to sign your life away to go to Girl Scout camp. But the Boy Scouts, you sign one form and that's it. But with the Girl Scouts, you get several forms.
Okay. Well,
So we took the girls out there, and that picture in the middle are 2 of my Girl Scouts, the Quay sisters,
okay.
and the father, George Quay, who's a colonel in the Army, and he made a lot of things possible for us, a lot of trips and things that we did because he made the arrangements for us. We took a bunch of girls to the birthplace of scouting, Girl Scouting in Savannah, Georgia. And on the way, we stopped several different spots, historic spots.
Oh, nice.
We spent a night at, is it Fort Riley? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Fort somebody anyway. On the way, we spent a night there. We bunked in the bunks on the base. And then we slept one night on a ship. And we had a great time.
Now
trying to get up and down those narrow steps.
Now you said he was the owner of Quade Buick?
Quade Buick, right.
Yes, Quade Buick. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, right here in the neighborhood. Once again.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he's since passed away as his wife. They both came to John's graduation from the Naval Academy.
oh, wonderful.
Actually, he pinned his mortars on boards on his shoulder. He pinned his on one side, and my middle son, the master sergeant, pinned him on the other shoulder when he graduated
Oh, isn't that
from the Naval Academy.
You
So
know,
we go back a long way with the
real
Quays.
friends, real commitment, neighbors, community, all of the above. All
Right.
of the above. Tell us a bit more about the work that you did at Mercer. And you said that this, turned into something that you had not expected.
Right. I was volunteering in the classroom with Charlene Nevins and helping her out and doing the things that she needed to have done. And then I think in 1993, I think it was in 93, this young man came in, 5 years old, and he was visually impaired. And he had his cane and trying to get around. And of course, he didn't have anybody in the district that brailled books or braille papers, so he needed his stuff brailled. So I took a correspondence course in braille and learned how to braille books and papers, worksheets for him. And eventually I had 3 that I brailled for in the particular school system. So they put me on the payroll in 93 and I stayed there for 20 years.
Wow.
I followed him all the way from Mercer through high school. He graduated and went on to John Carroll for 1 year before he passed away.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
And he had cancer, brain cancer. So he's in and out the hospital a few times, but he was determined he was going to go to college and he made it.
Isn't that something? He had to have been like family.
Yeah.
He had to.
He was
like
he was family. He was always over here at our house.
Well, who would have known? I mean, we don't necessarily take on volunteer responsibilities and know what they will really mean to us and to the people, but you also said that you actually learned how to braille on the computer.
Yes, they finally came out with a program on the computer. Before you had to bang on that old tin machine, hitting the keys. And I was very happy when they come out with a program on the computer. So it was easy. I just type on the computer and then I could change it to braille.
Okay.
So I have to proofread it because sometimes it picked up errors, but it was much easier than banging away on that type.
Yes. And and the commitment, that Shaker also had to the children, to offer them. I mean, but you were there. You were there. Right. So that really made the difference. If they did not have someone who was skilled and fortunately Shaker recognized, the need and paid you for doing the work that you did.
Yeah, and a special education aid.
Yes, that's wonderful. So we'll talk more about your family. So we'll go back to the slides. We'll be introduced to your sons. Here we are.
That's my oldest son, Alan. He's the one that's a long distance truck driver.
Okay. And you said he might be somewhere in Texas right now, right?
Well, he could be. I don't know where he is. He was in Texas last time I talked to him.
Okay. All right. And we see this picture of you there. Your son looks just like you. Okay. Well,
and that's my middle son, Tim.
Yes. I love the picture up in the left on the left side. He was already listening to everything that was going on.
The one in the right corner, he was in daycare at Phyllis Wheatley, and he was in a play, so he had to dress up in his suit. He wasn't too happy about it.
Okay. I went to Phyllis Wheatley Nursery School.
It
Sure did. Didn't everybody? Yes, yes. And you and your husband and baby.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Now, is this your son?
That's Tim
Okay, Tim.
and my granddaughter. And of course, Tim and Alan over there with their father.
Yes. Now, how many grandchildren do you have?
3,
Three.
2 boys, 1 girl.
Okay. All right. All right. Family of men.
Right.
Yes. And our next slide.
And then this young lady came to live with us, my granddaughter. Her mother had an accident. She's a longshoreman, worked on the docks,
Mm,
and somebody dropped a load on her, and she was in the hospital for a long time. So
mm.
Deja, I think Deja was about a year and a half when she came to live with us. So she came and stayed with us, and we raised her. She graduated from Shaker.
Oh, oh, wow.
So I have 1 girl.
Yes, yes, yes. You do have a daughter. Mhm.
Yeah. And then that's my youngest son, John. He's getting pinned there at the bottom from his graduation from the
Uh-huh.
academy.
Is that Mr. Quaid there?
That's Mr. Quay and my
Uh-huh.
master sergeant
And your
son.
son.
And,
Military family.
and John played hockey at Shaker. He played softball, football, basketball. I think he played every sport going.
And actually, the picture in the middle, you had told me the sweatshirt you have on.
Right. That's his shirt.
That's
Number
his
10.
shirt.
The quarterback. Yeah, he was a quarterback at the junior high. They won all their games, but when they got to the high school, they didn't do as good at the high school.
Mm. Well,
But
now,
he's-
all of your sons were in the military, right?
yes, 2 in the Marines and John in the Navy.
Okay, and your son and your husband as well.
Yes, he was in the Marine Corps.
Okay. Okay.
That's my 10-year-old granddaughter there with her father, John.
All righty.
And that's John on his ship up there, the left and right corner.
Now, are any of your sons still in the military?
No, the last one came out in 2008.
Oh, okay.
At 23 and a half years, though. He spent 23 and a half years.
Career. All right.
That young lady with the cap on graduated from Jane Addams. She lived with us for 2 years so she could attend Jane Addams. She wanted to take a business course and she lived in the wrong area, so she moved over here to go.
Mm-hmm.
So she lived with us.
Mm.
So we had a daughter for 2 years.
Yes. Now that's 2 daughters. You
Yeah, 2 daughters. Yes.
welcome people with open arms. My goodness. And how fortunate for you and for them. And I see your granddaughter with her grandfather there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I remember your son because he and my children were at Moorland at the same time.
Right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's when I met you. And when I moved into Moreland, I didn't know, I said, I have to understand that there are folks who know what's going on, and just the regard, I have to say, that I have for everyone who I met when I came to Shaker and enrolled my children into Moreland just made me feel like I was walking into places where there were legacies and, people who already knew and had laid the groundwork for, just the wonderful experiences our children had. It's absolutely wonderful. But you said one of your children, you decided to transfer to another elementary school.
Oh yeah, my youngest son, John, when he was in school, I was in and out of school all the time because I volunteered there. And I went over there one week I was over there every day of the week, and every day of the week I went over there. He was right after he started school in kindergarten, and he was in the hallway. So I asked him, "Why are you out here again?" Teacher told me to go out there. So I went and asked her, "Why is my son in the hallway again?" Because he won't listen to me and do what I tell him to do. I said, "What are you telling him to do?" "I'm telling him to sit down and be quiet when he finishes his work." I said, "Why don't you give him more work to do?" "Because we have to work at the same thing at the same time." I told her, "You need to go somewhere and retire, old lady." That was Miss Shearer. I was trying to be polite though. So I just took him and his coat and we went over to Onaway, and I registered him at Onaway in kindergarten. And Jean Silac was principal at the time, and I explained to her what was going on at Moreland. I said, this old lady does not need to be teaching. So I want him in the class with a young teacher. So she put him in with, let me see, I think her name was Fitzpatrick, Fitzgerald, whatever it was. Anyway, yeah. She was young. So when I checked on him over there, she said, "Well, he's very friendly and he likes to talk a lot, but he gets his work done, and I just give him more work when he gets his work done. That's all you got to do." That's what I tried to tell that old lady, but she didn't want to hear her.
Yeah, sit, be quiet, do what I say.
Yeah, exactly. She has to work at the same level. Well, you know, this was the result of all the blacks moving into the area, and some of the whites didn't know how to cope. So they said, "We'll do this way. This is the way we do it. That's the only way you can do it." And it doesn't work like that for everybody. Everybody's not in the same box.
No.
Can't put people in the same box and say you have to do it this way. There's always another way.
And fortunately, there was another option.
Right.
It's really hard when you have to fight with a teacher for a whole year.
I mean, I wasn't about, she had my oldest son, and he didn't like to go to school, but I was working at the time and I didn't know what was going on. But my youngest son, I was there and I saw what was going on. So I just yanked him out. Mr. Buchanan was principal at Moorland at the time. He said, "Miss Perkins, you can't take your child out of school and put him in another one." I said, "I already did. I registered him at honor."
All righty.
I said, and Jean Silac said it was perfectly okay. So you don't have anything to say about it, Buchanan.
That's right.
I let him come back after a year though, because then we had good teachers. They weren't ancient teachers, so he got along all right. But he made good friends while he was at Onaway.
Oh, good. And
he came home from school one day and his cousin asked him, he kept talking about this kid at the school, and he came home. She says, "Well, is your friend black or white?" He said, "I don't know. I'll ask him when I go back to school." Life would be so much easier if adults would leave kids alone and let them get along. But they got to meddle in their life.
Oh my goodness, that's good. That's good. All righty. Let's go back. Let's see where we are on our slides. And then if anybody wants to chime in with any questions, please feel free to do so. Put questions in the chat. Oh, these are pictures of your husband.
That was my husband at the Playmore. He had his skates on, but one of his buddies plays the guitar, so he told him, "Put it on so you can take a picture."
Yeah.
So that's what he did. And he had on my oldest son's cowboy hat there. My oldest son likes cowboy music, and he's got several cowboy hats. So he had them in a box in the basement, and Jen took one of them and put it on. And we were at a luncheon up in the right-hand corner.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. All right, where are we on our slide? Yeah. Oh, roller skating.
At the Playmore, we're at the Playmore skating. That left-hand corner at the bottom, we're sitting down on Kinsman waiting on the Labor Day parade.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good picture. On your road's got Playmore. That brings back memories.
Yeah.
It was on Cedar.
Right. It was until they burned it down in 1966.
Oh boy. Well, I was there a couple of years before that.
Right. Yeah.
These are wonderful pictures. This is this flyer here. Your husband's 90th birthday and same time.
Right. Mhm. He
Yeah.
turned 90 and our 60th anniversary. And we had a party at the Playmore with all our friends. One of our friends painted that picture
Yes,
and
I
gave
see
it to us.
I see this picture up on your wall. It's right behind you.
Right. And they have one at the Playmore too. She painted
Oh,
two of them. They got one hanging at the Playmore.
oh, wow, how special. Did you all skate when you were young?
Yes, my husband's been skating forever. A matter of fact, he was Mr. Playmore in 1954.
Oh my
He won
God.
a contest.
Oh,
We used to do all the dances and he did all the jumps and all that. And I didn't jump, I skated.
oh goodness. Oh, anybody in the room remember that? Going skating and seeing people dancing on their skates. Oh,
That's where I learned to skate at the Playmore. And they had the organ player, and
yeah.
Gus would come
Bolin
up from the
Johnson.
floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Bolin Johnson was the organist and he made that thing walk and talk. I like the organ music. Nowadays, they don't like organ music. They like the loud rap.
Yeah, whatever. However. Skating still.
Yeah.
And still saying yes. And in the 60s, she skated every weekend. Every
Yeah.
weekend.
Every week.
Every weekend. And here we have more pictures of your family and your son.
Yeah.
Where
My husband has on his master sergeant's son's uniform. He wanted to take his picture in his son's uniform. We were at the graduation and Timmy had his coat hanging up there in the closet and Jim put it on with his hat. That's not his uniform. He wasn't the master sergeant. We were in Hawaii and the picture in the middle, John was stationed in Oahu. So we went over there.
Oh,
Took
nice.
forever. I'd never go there again. 9 hours in the air. I
Yes.
don't like flying, and 9 hours was a long time to be floating in the air over water.
It's farther than a lot of other places.
Yes, it is. I like my feet on dry ground.
Okay.
And that's Tom Selleck down there in the left-hand
Anybody
corner.
recognize him there? Mhm.
He was at the graduation.
Oh, nice. And I see you here with a mascot, Naval.
The goat.
Okay.
We were at the Army Navy game.
All righty. Wonderful.
And that's the day camp from our church. We took the kids, we walked down to Alexander Hamilton, down to Kinsman there. We skated, they let us swim in the pool there. So we had skating, swimming every week, skating and bowling every week, and swimming.
And I understand you're, still very involved with your church, Eastview.
Yeah, I'm still involved. I'm on a few committees and I don't try to deal with too many young people anymore. They got enough young people in the church to deal with them. So I just give my advice when they ask me.
Okay.
But I don't do
as much as you used to.
Yeah, I don't run any day camps or anything anymore.
Okay. All righty. And here we are. Here's a familiar face, Reverend.
Yeah, Reverend Lassiter. He was at the church for almost 37 years.
Oh, my.
He was our pastor. And then the young man up in the left-hand corner is our new preacher. And he's a very good speaker. And of course, Michelle Obama came to our church.
Yes, many of us heard about it after the fact. Tell us about that experience.
Well, we have a book club and Sharon Jefferson runs the book club, and she had connections with somebody and they asked her if she would take a phone call from Michelle Obama when she came to town. She was in town, downtown, for a meeting, for an interview, and promoting her new book, Becoming.
Yes.
So she was supposed to call the church and talk to the book club. So when I got to church that morning, the doors were locked and Secret Service cards was all over the place. Shaker was all over the place. So I said, uh-oh, So I figured Michelle must have come to town in person.
Yes.
So she came, she was on the phone talking to Sharon Jefferson, and then she opened the door and walked into the meeting, and everybody went crazy that was in the book club, of course.
Oh, my goodness. I know you were.
And then she stayed for church. She stayed for the whole service in church. So we had a nice little program.
That is wonderful. I remember hearing about it. I remember hearing Michelle Obama went to a church in Cleveland. That's what I heard. Then I said, it was Eastview.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to have her there. She didn't get up and talk. She did talk at the book club, but she didn't talk in the meeting. She just
nice.
waved at us and said, hello.
How special. Remember, many of us remember Reverend Lassiter.
Yeah, Danny Glover was there a couple of weeks ago during the elections. He was thumping for Nina.
Okay.
Nina didn't make it.
I didn't know
But he was there.
Okay. Eastview attracts celebrities.
How about that? And one of our own celebrities, it was in my Sunday school class, Kid Cudi.
Oh, yes. Yes. He lived right here on Shelton Road. When I tell people that, they're like, what? Like, yes, he was a little boy.
Yeah. He was in my Sunday school class.
All right. Now, do we have any more slides? I think there's another. Oh, Megan. I'm curious if by any chance Ms. Perkins' sweatshirt. Oh, yes, right. I was going to bring up her sweatshirt. Yes.
That's the visually impaired students I worked with, three of them there. One of them in the front row there, and one's up in the right-hand corner, and one in the left-hand corner. We had Marcel Jeffries, Jack Desmond, and Shamika Sharpley.
Nice. And
Jack was totally blind. He couldn't see at all, but that boy could play the piano. I mean, he's autistic as well as blind, and he could play anything. You ask him something on the piano and he could play it. If he heard something, he could play it.
Oh, nice. Gifted. He
was gifted. He's very gifted. He's working now too. Works at the VA. He answers the phone and gives people directions.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Are you still in touch with him? Sounds like you're still connected with him.
Every now and then I talk to him. I saw him last year.
You're probably his favorite teacher. Now, where are you in these pictures?
Oh, I'm on the right
side.
Where
you were at the space.
In the middle.
You were at a space exhibit.
Oh yeah, we're at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Alabama.
In Alabama.
Yeah, they had a whole group of visually impaired students going, so they had a special jet set aside, so they flew us all out there.
I'm just thinking about how much exposure you have given to so many young people. You know, I encounter a number of young people who have never been outside the boundaries of Cleveland. and just by your work and your commitment and your love for humanity, young people, you've offered so much. You've offered so much to so many people, And I do want to get back to your sweatshirt that you have on right now and tell us a bit about we can see what it says, but tell us what that means.
Well, our playground was falling apart up there at Moorland, and before they decided to close up the school, they got together and built a new playground. So the PTA, it was PTA then, not O, and everybody chipped in and helped raise money, and we got the money together, and then we went up there and helped build it. So the kids would have equipment that was safe, because what they had up there was unreliable. Kids were getting hurt.
And it says Shaker Heights, play around the world with Shaker Heights.
Right, the back of it. You see
there it is, in Shaker Heights, play around the world in Shaker Heights.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what we
This
got
is
for
just
working,
absolutely wonderful.
building the
Anybody have
playground.
questions, comments? Chime in.
Mhm.
Yes, I'd like, this is Earlene Hooper. I'd certainly like to congratulate Mrs. Perkins and thank her for all the things that she and her husband, positive things that they have done for our neighborhood. There were times when people thought I was a member of Eastview because Reverend Laster used to be our next door neighbor. I would certainly walk into that church and expect to see Mrs. Perkins. And I think about the parades every year. She always had our scouting, and the boys were a part of the parade and the girls were a part of the parade because of the Perkins. And I didn't know about some of the experiences that you had at Mercer. You have enlightened us. The last thing I'd like to mention is that at the skating party, your last skating party, Sam and I attended that one at Euclid, and we had an opportunity to find out that you had been skating together for a long time and were still skating. That day, they were still skating. So thank you for all the beautiful things that you've done for us. And I can look at you and tell that you certainly have not begun to stop. Keep on with this. We need it. Thank you so much.
I still go skating on Tuesdays, even though Jim is gone.
You still go
I'm
skating?
not surprised.
Miss Perkins, I was wondering, did I hear you say that your son became an Eagle Scout?
Yes, he was the Eagle.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize how difficult that is. And I know George Quay is real prone to come and meet all the Eagle Scouts. So that's a fantastic accomplishment, really. Absolutely. So
I received a silver award, and Jim and I both had the District Award of Merit.
oh, very good.
Now, there was something I want to add. I don't want to miss this because you brought the name up of someone the other day whose name rang a bell for me. You said something about Joe Burker. I said, I knew Joe Burker.
Yeah, he used to live down the street from me here.
Yes.
But we worked together on the Reading is Fundamental program.
In Cleveland.
Yeah, in Cleveland, right. We were on the bus and drove around to the different schools and handed books out for the kids to read. We traveled to several neighborhoods.
I remember him from Mount Pleasant because he was, a social worker. He worked with the Mount Pleasant Community Center. And I mean, and as a child, really just to think about the people who really make an impact because they're visible, they're always there. They're always there. And when you brought his name up and you first said it, I said, who? I remember Joe Burker. I remembered him. And,
he was a Tuskegee Airman too.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if I knew that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
And the recognition for your work, you've sat on a few boards here in Shaker. Share this with us. How it helps recognize, who you are, contributions.
I was on the rec board for a while and on the Building and Housing Inspection Board. And quite a lot of scouting boards.
Yes. Also deserve recognition. Any questions? There, we could go on and on and on. And I think if we had, young people who are now adults and, have children of their own, I'm sure that they pass on many of the things that they learned from you and your husband and your family and how they've been able to, continue to contribute because of what they learned from you. So thank you so much. Any questions? Anybody want to chime into the chat?
Yes, Al Foster here, and I just want to say, Miss Perkins, it was always a joy being involved with scouting with you and Jim. The great times that we had and I wanted to continue on. And then when Ellen got to be 11, it was time to go to Boy Scouts. He says, you know, Dad, I was only doing this for you. I wanted to choke them. I have 6 grandsons, and unfortunately, none of them have gotten involved in scouting. So now I've got 4 great grandsons, and I hope that they do, because I've still got my tent and my equipment and ready to go. Thank
And
you
our
for
basement
letting
is
me
full
be
of
part of
equipment,
your
too.
life. What'd you say, Miss Perkins?
I still got equipment in the basement too, so if you need any, come on over.
We all need to get together, start another troop in Moreland. We'll find some space. Is there any space at the library, Megan? Who knows? The
JoAn, this is Shirley Ramsey again. I just want to say thank you and your husband for all the wonderful work that you did, you know, in the Moreland community with the Boy Scouts, with just everything. You had a hand in a little bit of everything. And I'm so grateful that you and your husband were there, because they made you guys made a lasting impression on my son. I was telling him about your husband. He was like, oh no. So you are remembered. You and your husband will always be remembered when it comes to the association with this Moreland community. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Incidentally, if you want any equipment from Moreland, I think there's still some up in my attic. Al Hunt helped me close up the office when they closed the office. And somehow it all landed up in my attic because nobody else had any room and my attic was empty. So I didn't throw anything out. So we got boxes of papers and stuff up in the attic.
Wow.
Okay.
I just wanted to chime in. This is Rachel Williams, and I am one of Miss Perkins' children. And I do want to say thank you for the long-lasting impression on my life coming up in Moreland. I did want to say thank you, Miss Perkins. She's another mother to me.
Yeah,
And Miss Perkins.
Yep, me and Charlo. Yeah, me and Charlo.
I don't know whether you saw what Megan put on there, but a lot of the history that you have should be donated to the library. Like I did a lot of the Moreland Community Association papers. They've been donated to the library because all of that is our history. Exactly. So get with Megan, or Megan, you get with Miss Perkins.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, just even the collection of information that is in the Moreland section of the library, it's vast, including our Witness to History. So if people, are not able to join us the second Sunday of the month, you can always access those interviews. It's fun being here with us though. So, it's nice to see everybody be able to join us when we have these wonderful conversations with our neighbors. Moreland.
Yeah, and one thing. Oh, go ahead, George.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Perkins. I can't help when you bring up the Playmore. There's so many thoughts and memories that come to it. You talked about Bowden Johnson. I don't know. After him, you might have remembered my wife's aunt, Betty Perry.
Yeah, I remember Betty.
Oh yeah,
She belonged to my husband's church. Oh,
okay, very good. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Betty could make that organ walk too. We always loved it when the organ players were there, Bolden or Betty. Betty was very good.
Yes,
I loved her playing.
We need to have some old footage, so that if people couldn't, don't really understand, about a skating rink and the music and the dancing on the skates and really. It really takes us back. What a wonderful time.
But I was going to ask you also whether you knew Matt Dunlap. Yes. He was a skater. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Good friend of mine. Yes, indeed.
Very good. Anybody else want to chime in to this wonderful, rich conversation tonight?
I'd like to say to Ms. Perkins, I thank her for all the energy that she brought to the schools, to the Scouts, and to our church. And you are loved and appreciated. This is Sharon. And
Thank
I
you, Miss.
also wanted to mention my daughter Taylor, she was a Scout.
Yes, she
And,
was.
yeah, we
Unwilling one, but she was a scout for a while.
yeah, for a while, yeah. And I remember the trip to Washington and
Yeah.
seeing the changing of the guards and standing
Right.
in the long lines to view the White House and the colors,
Right.
the red room and the green room. But where did we go after where the planes are and your son was in the service there?
Annapolis. We went
Yes,
to the Naval Academy in Annapolis.
exactly. That was awesome too.
Yeah, we got
So
a
I wasn't,
private tour.
yeah, I wasn't a scout, but I got to do a lot of things that the scouts did.
Yeah, that's because we needed parents to keep herd on their children.
Exactly.
Yes. They say, you know, who wants to
Brave
be
enough to take a bus
chaperone,
load
you
of
raise your
children.
hand, go along with the kids, you know, it's all the learning experience.
Right.
I don't mean to take up too much time here, but I just wanted to thank you again. I was a scoutmaster, and I know a lot about the scouts. Okay, we talk about some of these children that have never been out of the city, out of the state. There's some of them that have never been out of the city. When I took my first group out and took them out, they were in the woods, you know, and they said, "Oh, I don't like this. This is like Friday the 13th." They really could not relate to it. So thank you for all your efforts with the Scouts. Really, sounds like you did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
This is Early Hooper again. I was just checking with Sam because his father was very actively involved in the Scouts, but it seems as if that was a period prior to he worked with Mr. West and Mr. Davis.
You have to do
Yeah,
it.
did they overlap at all? Mr. West, who I guess went to Eastview, Virginia West's father, and also Roland Davis, who lived on Ludgate.
Now, Roland Davis, I remember him.
Okay.
But can't place the other two.
Okay.
Mr. West was active. Excuse me. He was active at Eastview too. He and his wife both were.
Mr.
West.
Yeah, Mr. West, remember Miss Perkins was involved with Rudy Rogers and myself.
Yeah, Harold West. You're talking about Harold West?
That's right. That's right. A couple of doors from the church.
Yeah, I know Harold and his wife too, both of them. Yeah, they're very active at the church. And Harold worked with the Scouts. Yeah, I remember Harold. I thought you said Webb.
No, West.
West.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you were instrumental in convincing the gas company to, well, they wouldn't give you a van. They sold you a van for $1.
Right.
Okay, good deal. Now, every time we have these, you know, we've had our conversations over more than a year. I always feel like, well, I'm so glad these are recorded. I'm so glad these are recorded. And, you know, but it feels like this is a book. You know, it does. You know, it really feels that every time we have conversations, you know, when we talk to people who have been here, who have connections with each other, and whether it's within Shaker or otherwise, this is unique. We know that, you know, our connection with each other in our neighborhood is unique, but it's so enriching, and so many people can benefit from, you know, hearing the stories as well as maybe reading them one day. Maybe reading them.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a book that's waiting for you to write it.
Well, we'll go on to the next subject of the evening, okay? If anybody is interested in being our guest on Witness to History, please give me a call or send me an email. You know who I am. I'm your neighbor. So, you know, we're always looking for folks to just have a chat with the second Sunday of the month. I'm looking for somebody for December. So I know that somebody's there and is going to call me as soon as we get off the line. You know who you are. All right. So I want to thank JoAn Perkins for this lovely conversation this evening. You know, bringing your family, your work, your husband, your children, all of the people who you have impacted, you know, through your life and through your work and your commitment and your love. And like I said, you were one of the people who I paid attention to when I moved to Moreland, because I felt like you had the key to this community and the, you know, the richness of the community and the commitment to the children and the schools. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think I have another message here. I don't want to say, Carmela. Thank you, Mrs. Perkins. It was such a joy to learn about your family and your work in and for the community. That's from Carmela Williams. Well, thank you, everybody. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Mrs. Perkins?
No, I think we covered everything that
Well, you know, I do want to mention that one thing you sent to me real quick. In 1993, in the Shaker magazine, there was a feature article on the Perkins family. And so we have, I don't know if you can see this picture. We didn't add that in. Here's JoAn Perkins. So if any of you keep your Shaker magazines, 1993. So
thank you.
Folks have recognized your wonderful work. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you,
Can I
everybody.
say one last thing?
Yes, go right ahead,
Okay.
George.
As far as the shirt goes, that Around the World Playground, when it was first started, what it really started out as, it was to reflect the diversity of Shaker. Pat Mearns was mayor then, and me and a few friends encouraged her to look at the diversity in Shaker. And that's how we got to the point of building the playground with sort of an ethnic cultural theme to it.
Wonderful.
was-
Okay, important.
yeah.
That's an
Thank you,
important
Mr.
point.
George. That's
Thank you,
wonderful.
George.
We like to know that.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, quite
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, actually, Pat was up there to help build it too.
Yes, I
Oh,
know.
sure.
I know. Yes,
Not
indeed.
surprised. Not
And
Quite
all of
impressed.
the city council persons, myself
yeah.
included. That's why
Up there,
I
yeah,
said,
all
Miss
through there.
Perkins, you got my shirt on.
Oh, and Meekin said there's a documentary about the building of the playground in the collection at the library.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad that was captured. All right, everybody.
All
Stay
right.
warm. Stay warm. Thank you again, JoAn. And
Thank you, Ms.
we'll
Perkins.
see you
Pleasure.
second Sunday of December.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thanks
All right.
again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
And
Bye.
thank you.